Hello and welcome back to another episode of PopCulture Reacts, and we are back in the world of hippity hop with Immortal Technique and You Never Know. So we've done
Quite
a
a frequent
few.
flyer on the channel, isn't he?
Yes,
If I remember rightly, I introduced you to him with freedom of speech, and then Dance with the Devil, didn't I? And then,
yeah,
subsequent to that, we've had quite a few individual songs recommended to us in the comments. So now we're kind of working our way through the the immortal techniques that land in the list.
yes. So obviously, so far it is the type of hip hop that I am liking. I've liked pretty much everything that we've had so
Yeah,
far.
big fan. Quite sometimes hard, quite sometimes brutal, but always with
Truth bombs.
yeah, and like kind of lots of great storytelling that
Yes,
really gets into you, gets under your skin, and also uh, uh, very different backgrounds, but probably quite similar thoughts and theories on the world and the bad parts of the world, I guess.
yes. So yeah, not obviously. I will say that I did randomly put one of his albums on. It was when I was sort of putting stuff into the Spotify list for the show, and I just clicked play as I was putting it in, and I went through a few of the songs before I'd realised that I was playing the album. So I
It
have heard some
happens.
stuff. I don't know what the songs were called because it was one of those if I wasn't looking because I was grabbing other bits that we'd done videos for. So I may have heard this, but I don't know if I have. But
It
I am
it's off the one album that I own in the house. Got it on CD somewhere because it's the same album that had Freedom of Speech on it. And once I heard that, I kind of picked it up. But I guess the truth of it is that we're not really so much in the world of buying albums anymore, are we? The
new.
world kind of moved on, and you listen to a lot of it. And I tend to buy my albums on vinyl now, but space in the house is sparing, so I have to be careful with how many of them I buy. But yeah, it is off an album I own. It's a song I like as well. So, and I think you'll like it. Is the honest truth.
So shall we get our immortal on?
Right, let's do this.
She was on her way to becoming a college graduate. Wouldn't even stop to talk to the average kid. The type of Latina I'd sit and contemplate marriage with. Fuck the horse and carriage shit, her love was never for hire. Disciplined, intellectual beauty's what I desire. Flyer than Selma Hayek or Jennifer Lopez. Everyone told me kicking it to her was hopeless. At first I just thought she didn't mess with broke kids. The thug niggas always talking about how they smoke kids, but the rich sniff coke kids got no play. I'm not even interested what her body language would say. Everyone around the way gave up trying to get in it, cause didn't matter how good your game was, she wasn't with it. All the block bitches was jealous but wouldn't admit it. Talk shit and deny to everyone that they did it, cause they regretted the long list of niggas that they let hit it. And no one ever gave them shit except McDonald's and Diddick. Smoking weed with thoughts of envy whenever they lit it. She spoke intelligently and they bit it, always trying to copy. But when they tried to use her vocab, they sounded sloppy. She had a style all her own, respectful and pure. I was sick in the head for her, and there wasn't a cure.
Hold tight to your love, 'cause
it empty and sad. I used to talk to her occasionally and she was glad that I wasn't just another nigga trying to get in it. So every now and then we'd stop and talk for a minute. I didn't have a gimmick, so the minutes turned to hours. On her birthday, I gave her a poem with flowers. Then I took her out to dinner after her cousin's baby shower. We talked about power to the people and such. We spent more time together, but it was never enough. I never tried to sneak a touch or even cop a feel. I was too interested in keeping it real, perfectly honest and complete. She would always call me cariño and never technique. Bought me a new book to read every 2 or 3 weeks, forever changing the expression of my thoughts when I speak. It was because of her I even deaded all of my freaks. She convinced me to stop hanging out on the streets, to stop robbing and stealing from people like you. Instead I took her out to the Apollo and the Bronx Zoo, Museo del Barrio and the Metropolitan too. Got to the point where I was either with her or my crew. So I decided one day to tell her my feelings was true. I couldn't live without her, so I told her face of my fears. But honey's only response was a face full of tears. She could only sob hysterically, holding me tight. I tried to speak, but she wouldn't stop until I left sight. I felt like a moth who got himself too close to the light. Except I didn't burn, I turned cold after that night.
Don't you know that time waits for no man, and our fate is all planned? I'm blessed just to know you, to be loved and I'm lost just to hold you all. I can't find a reason why God came between you and I. And if I had the chance again, I'd never let you go. Hold tight to your love, 'cause you never know.
I went on with my life, college and my career. Ended up locked up like an animal for a year, where the COs talk to you like they were the overseer. Then I got sent to the hole when my exit was near. At night in my cell, I'd close my eyes and I'd see her, hold her close in my dreams. But when I woke, she disappeared. Just an empty cell until the state gave me parole. In the summer, came back intact and on track. But the fact of the matter is I still felt cold. Even after my mother hugged me crying at home, my real niggas would catch me thinking out of my zone, fucking lots of different women. But I still felt alone, relatively well known around the New York underground. But I kept thinking of her and how we used to be down. The sound of her voice and the beautiful smell of her hair. Though gone physically, somehow it was still there. I had to do something because the shit was too much to bear. So I went and visited the building where she used to live. The world looks a lot different after you do a bid. Your way of life done changed while primitive minds are still stuck in the same game. Like her cousin who was on the corner slinging cocaine, stepped in the lobby and tapped the button next to her last name. Her mom buzzed me up and hugged me up like a mother order, but her facial expression changed when I asked about her daughter.
For no man, and our fate is all planned. I'm blessed just to know you, to be loved and I'm lost just to hold you all. I can't find a reason why God came between you and I. And if I had the chance again, I'd never let you go. Hold tight to your love, 'cause you never know.
She told me that there was a note for me that was left behind, and she had left it there waiting for such a long time. I was inclined to ask about it, but she brought it up first. I saw a tear swelling up in her eye, and then she cursed. She told me where the letter was, and I started thinking the worst. Reversed my position, stepped over and opened the door, and sure enough there was an envelope with my name on the floor. Nobody loves you more than me, cariño's what the letter said. By the time you get to read this, I'll probably be dead. But when you left in 97, a part of me went to heaven. I thank God at least I got to know what love really was. But it hurt me to see what true love really does. Cause even though we never made love, you were all that there was. It was because I loved you so much that I had to make you leave. You made me doubt the way I thought. You made me wanna believe. And then I slipped up and I let you get close to me. It was hard to not be openly when people spoke to me. This was not the way I thought my life was supposed to be. Baby, don't you see? I had a blood transfusion that left me with HIV. Hope didn't exist for me since late in 1993. I died a virgin. I wish I could have given myself to you. I cried in the hospital cause there was no one else but you. Promise that you'll meet me in paradise inevitably. No matter what, I'll keep your love forever with me. What happened for the rest of the day is still a blur, but I remember wishing that I was dead instead of her. She was buried on August 3rd. The story ends without a sequel, and now you know our technique. Don't fucking fall in love with people. Hold the person that you love closely if they're next to you. The one you love, not the person that's have sex with you. Appreciate them to the fullest extent and then beyond. Cause you never really know what you got until it's gone.
What do you reckon then?
The boy can tell a fucking story, can't he?
Yeah,
Jesus.
I do find apologies to viewers. I like we never kind of wants to kind of jump around, dance around, or do stuff like that. But when his songs come up, I get totally lost in them. Like I realised through that there was large patches. I had the lyrics going as well, so I was reading through them. There's large patches where I was just going. I don't think I've moved for 2 minutes because I'm just so engrossed in the stories that he tells, and for me, the way that he tells them. You know, the
Yeah.
stories are the ones that we've done anyway are rarely kind of joyous, but I can probably a more realistic view of the things that can happen in the world. But it never feels like kind of sadness porn or anything like that. You know,
Mm.
they feel realistic with a very poignant reason. And yeah, I just get absolutely sucked in by him. But quite a different style to what we've had musically so far,
Yeah.
isn't it? Lyrically, kind of. Well, I guess we'll get to that. But yeah, certainly a very very pared back kind of acoustic guitar with just a steady sort of beat going in it. But I didn't know whether that kind of side of it would float your boat or not.
The thing is, for what the lyrics and the story and everything that he's going with, it needed to be that.
Yeah,
The one thing I will say before we actually go sort of like more into in depth like the story and stuff, I love how he doesn't give a fuck about his lines rhyming. They
yeah,
fit what needs to be said, and he has a natural flow to his voice and like how he delivers his lines. But he doesn't do that thing that a lot of artists will do in hip hop in all sorts of music is
yeah.
that sort of rhyme or the cadence of
Rhyme or
using a
die.
word or that sort of using a cadence of a word or something that fits musically what's going on. Not no, I'm saying this because that's
Yeah,
what I want to say. I don't care if it goes over the beat by half a beat. Fuck you.
yeah, yeah. You know, like using all the space they have, I guess. Equatable to, I guess, like an artist doing a painting or a movie director directing a movie, or go back to one of our other loves, comic books, the people who kind of move away from the traditional panel structure, or the painter that adds something into the painting that people don't normally do, or the movie maker who does something completely different of going, I don't need to be confined by the structure. I'm the artist
Yeah,
here. I'm the person telling this story, and I'll find the best way to tell it. I'm glad you picked that out because there was a couple of bits in particular. In fact, I went for both sides of the coin. I went for one bit where, in theory, it wouldn't sort of scan in the line where it's got far too many syllables, but he kind of manages to get it in it and get it to sound good, which is forever changing the expression of my thoughts when I speak, which didn't scan with like it was longer than every other line that had preceded it and everything that come afterwards, but it just still fit, even though it kind of
yeah,
almost snuck into when the next line would start. But on the flip side, you say about rhyming, and there's one bit where the COs talk to you like they were the overseer, little bit of line in between, and he hits it back with "At night in my cell, I'd close my eyes and I'd see her." And just the way that he delivers it, you just go, "Man, that's smart!" Like with the
yeah,
line in between, I didn't think you were going with a rhyme here, but actually, yeah, you really do. And I think I know people hate it when we talk about like construction and things like that because you know it is art, but it is a really good word for it. The way he constructs what he does,
mm.
he's just a bit above and beyond your average rapper, isn't it? I think
Yeah. I mean,
there's so much added creativity into it to be able
yeah.
to reflect the story he wants to tell.
it's the thing. I That's why I really like everything we've done of his so far. And I said even when I ended up with the extra stuff on, I was enjoying what I was hearing
Yeah,
because he's not prolific. You're not going to get an album every 2 years or a mixtape every year and things like that. But when you get stuff, it is so clever and so thoughtful
yeah,
and meaningful and so
yeah.
well made that it's him. You know, it's like obviously one of the bands that we do quite a bit on here, Rammstein. Yeah, Rammstein have their Rammstein sound for certain things, but they are one of those types of bands that they work so tirelessly on what it is
Yeah.
they want to do in their thing and fuck everyone else. This is what we're doing. He is that in hip hop. He's not doing the Eminem, the Snoop Dogg, the Drake, the stuff that sells shit tons of things because it's low hanging fruit, simple stuff for the masses. This is
I'd probably dispute Eminem on that, but yeah, I'll give it to you on the others.
where yeah, so early Eminem was very MTV.
I think we might need to go back and do some reactions on early Eminem because I think early Eminem is this. I think early Eminem is and so a lot of mid and late, but I think sometimes getting drawn into the hip hop game a bit more. But I think he tells amazing stories and a lot of stuff that no one else of a mainstream was doing. I think that was the beauty of Eminem, and I think that's what made him such a great MC. But yeah, we're not here to talk about Eminem. Now we can do another show on that another time. But yeah, I mean, you said about meaningful and substance, and I think it is. It's meaningful. It's substance, and I think what comes across is honesty. Like
Mm,
he isn't. Now I know, like certain other songs, this does inevitably go to a dark place, but I think even before you get to that dark place, I think he's so honest and open with. I mean, I imagine this is a story based off of either something that strictly happened or a combination of things, thoughts, and feelings he had. But I think he's always very, very honest with about who he is,
yeah,
about how things impact him, about how he emotionally connects with things. But at the same side, still dropping in like lines that he admits that at certain points in time, in certain points in his life, he can be suckered into doing those things that I guess where we talked about the more reductive side of hip hop,
yeah,
that sort of stuff. But he tries to kind of rise above it, become a better person. It doesn't always get there, and yeah, I love how honest he is with himself, and like it's a story. You could go A B C D E here,
yeah,
but throughout, and I think this it's one of the strengths of hip hop when hip hop's done well is it really leans into, much like poetry does, that use of descriptive language to get to your point. Like if you're going to say, let's say 10 lines worth of stuff over 20 lines, you have to really invest in what those other 10 lines are, and I
yeah,
think that really comes across in here. But yeah, I think he's a master of the trade, and I do think it's a shame that he isn't talked about enough. Like I don't have a lot of friends who are hip hop fans. A few notable good ones though, so no offense to those ones who are. But I don't have tons to talk to, but I never hear him spoken about. And I'm sure there are lots of people out there who love him, but I feel like he should be spoken about and kind of put up into upper echelons more
mm,
than he actually is. A number of artists out there like MF Doom was a big one for me on that of just didn't didn't in his case get the recognition he deserved, and I think there are artists that people tend to find when I think they've gone through all that front facing stuff, the stuff that's really sort of pushed down your throat, and if you
mm,
still like it and want to find some more, you go and find guys like this, where it's a shame
yeah.
that these aren't the ones that people are putting in people's hands going, you like rap, do you?
Here
Get
you
this down
go.
your throat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as always, YouTubey things, like, subscribe, and ring bells. Comments down there. Let us know what you thought
Yeah.
of this and any
More
other.
Immortal Technique, please, and any other hip hop
Yes.
artists that you think sit in that range of underrated, undervalued, maybe,
Yes.
underhyped, possibly as well.
Yes. And as always, until next time, thank you for watching and goodbye.